Good. Hi. How many of you work here? Who are all those people back there? In the back row. What do they do?
Parents.
Parents? All right.
We don't get paid for it.
You look like you're too young to be parents.
Good afternoon. I'm Chris Lester, Superintendent of Hamilton Local Schools. I'd like to begin by welcoming Governor John Kasich to our district. To my knowledge, this is the first time that a sitting governor has visited this district, and we're honored to have he with us today and also to host the ceremonial signing of House Bill 555. I'd also like to welcome current chair of the Senate Education Committee, State Senator representing District 6, Senator Peggy Lehner.
She's really good.
Since January is Board Member Appreciation Month, we have some board members with us tonight. I would like to recognize quickly. We'll be honoring them tonight at our monthly organizational meeting. Mr. David Judy, board member, Mr. Wally Obert, and Ms. Pam Hallam. We have three here with us tonight. The other two could not make us because of other things on their schedule. While serving as superintendent of the Hamilton Local Schools, I've been committed to leading an outstanding team of administrators, faculty, and staff that works together to provide an excellent education for every child. While I'm also committed to communicating with parents, community employees, over the past 5 years, we've increased our efforts in communicating by hiring Vince, obviously, as our communication director, getting our website up and running, and it is full of information, hamiltonrangers.org, newsletters, social media, weekly updates from the superintendent, and so on. With the signing of House Bill 555, the state will assist all schools throughout Ohio to better communicate their performance. We developed our mission in 2004, and that mission says that we will improve achievement through total accountability and high expectations. House Bill 555 does exactly the same thing, but it's going to do it with every school in the state of Ohio. We welcome the accountability and high expectations of House Bill 555, and we look forward to setting action plans to achieve the highest mark possible under House Bill 555. Now I'd like to introduce one of the quality educators that we're lucky to have with us here at Hamilton Local Schools, our math department chair and the 2013 Ohio Teacher of the Year, Ms. Carol Morbitzer.
Thank you, Governor Kasich and Superintendent Lester, for asking me to be here with you today. Governor Kasich, we are honored that you selected Hamilton Local Schools for this event. We are so very proud of our schools, our students, our staff, and our community, and we hope you've enjoyed the time you spent with us today. As I thought of the changes that are going to be made to the district report cards under House Bill 555, I thought about what I do in my classroom every day. So for a moment, you're here in a classroom, I want each of you to think back to your high school math classes. Think of you, imagine yourself sitting in that desk as your teacher went to the board and wrote down those technical theorems, those technical definitions, those technical formulas. Makes some of you cringe, doesn't it? Makes you kind of nervous. It makes you nervous because perhaps you were slightly unsure. Perhaps you didn't understand those technical terms. I use those technical terms on my board every day. The definitions, the theorems, the formulas. But then I look at my students and I say, you know what? This is what you're going to read in a math book. Now let's talk about what it really means. I want to make that math real to them. I want to move them beyond those technical terms. I want them to truly understand the mathematics so that they can move forward. And that is exactly what House Bill 555 will do to our district report cards. House Bill 555 will allow the district report cards to move beyond the technical terms and become more meaningful for everyone. Under our current report card system, parents often ask, and even teachers often ask, well, what's the difference between excellent and excellent with distinction? What does effective really mean? Again, we get lost in those technical terms, don't we? So the state legislators have listened to those questions, have listened to those those concerns, and they've responded. The changes to our local report cards, our district report cards, will use language that everyone understands. Under House Bill 555, districts and schools will earn grades based on performance, just like your students earn grades in their classes. Parents and teachers, you already understand that grade system. If your student has an A in class, you know that your child is making excellent progress throughout the school year. Whereas that student has a B, they're probably making average progress, doing all right, but there's definitely room for improvement. That same familiar grade scale will now be used for our schools. With everyone speaking the same language in regards to the district report cards, all of the stakeholders, school districts, parents, teachers, students, can truly know exactly how their district and schools are performing. Along with this brings higher expectations and a more challenging grade scale for the schools and for the districts. I, along with my colleagues at Hamilton Local Schools, welcome those higher expectations set by the state, and I am confident that we will once again rise to the occasion. At this time, I would like to introduce one of our many actively and wonderful parents. This is Judy Blackburn.
Thank you, Carol. First, I'd like to thank Superintendent Lester and Principal Tyler for asking me here today to speak on behalf of the parents of the community and throughout the great state of Ohio. I am honored to speak on their behalf. About 6 years ago, my husband Jake and I were searching for a school district that would provide an excellent education for our daughter Riley and our son Aiden. During our research and planning, we learned that Hamilton Local Schools had the lowest tax rate in Franklin County and still operates on tax revenues approved in 1993. We also learned that Hamilton Local was a district quickly on the rise, having gone from a report card rating nearing academic emergency to one of continuous improvement over a 3-year span. We spoke to family and community members familiar with the area to get their impression on the district, and they said that the future was bright and gave many reasons to support their thoughts. Since residing in the Hamilton Local School District, we've seen our district reach multiple excellent ratings, and our daughter's school, Hamilton Intermediate, earned the district's first Excellent with Distinction rating. Those ratings sound great or cause for concern when you first hear them, so it does take a little time and a little effort to completely understand and know what each one means. Now with the changes of House Bill 555 to the state's grading system, we parents don't have to be bilingual and understand education jargon any longer. We all speak letter grades. We know what they mean because we've seen them all of our lives. We know what A's, B's, and C's mean. We know that we all ask our children to strive for straight A's in school, and that will be the same expectation for our schools and school district in the future. House Bill 555's revision to add individual grades to student growth and college career readiness are also good touches. As parents, we know that we want to know how well our students are doing academically and that they are ready to advance to a post-secondary setting. I am confident that the administration, the faculty, and staff of Hamilton Local will continue to strive for straight A's in these measurable categories because they have done an excellent job this far. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm Peggy Lehner. I happen to be chairman of the Senate Education Committee, and in that role I have the distinct pleasure of working with a fabulous team of folks in the governor's office. And I want to tell you, working as a partner of Governor Kasich is challenging at times, but it's exciting because his vision for Ohio is so high. In my role, I get to visit a lot of schools. I see excellent schools. I see some pretty bad schools. But one thing about the governor is there's no such thing as a school that can rest on its laurels. He is always moving us a step higher. House Bill 555 is one of those pieces of legislation that he initiated. We sort of played around with it for a while and had to put our own mark on it. But basically, basically what he was trying to do is to provide a roadmap to excellence. And that's what we have tried to do here. And when you're reading a map and you don't understand the language, you don't understand what effective means, or some of the people have made comments about some of those words, it's a little hard to understand where you're going. But everyone understands what an A is. And with 555, what we have done is we've looked ahead to the Common Core, which is going to challenge us in every aspect of education processes, frankly, as we adopt. Is that coming from here? I don't know where it is. Maybe that's my buzzer. But anyway, I think it probably can be heard without it if you just want to. Okay. All right. But what it's going to do is to give us the ability to not just look at an overall letter grade, but sort of a, better? Okay, all right. To sort of look at different components of our performance, whether how kids are doing on reading, and we made that was another major initiative of the governor, was to require that every child learn to read by 3rd grade. So we're going to be able to measure that. How are our schools doing meeting that important metric? How are our schools doing in making sure that someone graduates from high school actually ready to go to college and not enter into remediation programs? There's 15 different metrics that we're going to look at, and they all add up together to be those components that are going to assure that our schools are absolutely the best they can be. As parents, you're going to be able to look at that report card and say, hey, it's great that we have an A here, 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 and here, but gee, why do we have an F in 3rd grade reading? We've got to do something about that, or even a C or a B, because nothing is better. Nothing is too good for our kids, and we should be striving for an A at all points. And schools that settle, I actually was at a school board meeting last week of a school that's in academic, well, they're not academic distress, but they're financial distress, and they're cutting $6.4 million out of their budget. And I was astonished to hear one of the school board members say, what's wrong with a B? Let's accept a B and be proud of it. And I thought, no, why should your children have to accept being a B school? And this school is one that understands the importance of excellence. The governor understands it. I think if we continue to work together, not only in the legislature, but as parents, as teachers, as administrators across the state, we can make the education system here in the state of Ohio an A across the board. And I think I will accept nothing less, and I know this governor will accept nothing less. So.